Discover the heartwarming journey. Daughter's incredible plea. Can her new mom stay forever? Emily peered through the cracked window of the Maple Grove diner, her heart racing as her mom, Carla, rushed back to work. The atmosphere buzzed with laughter and greasy smells, but tonight felt different. Something was heavy in the air. Then, with a sudden gasp, she saw it. A flare of panic spread across Carla's face. Emily watched helplessly as her mother crumpled to the ground. Her breath hitched as the ambulance arrived, sirens shrieking across the tight-knit community. Eyes wide, she felt as if the world spun out of control. "Mom!" she cried, feeling the weight of fear crush her chest. Days turned into an aching blur as Emily clung to every moment her mom was gone. The diner seemed quiet without Carla's laughter, each passing minute a reminder of the emptiness. Just when the silence threatened to swallow her whole, a bright spark entered her life. Sarah, the nurse with luminous kindness. With her gentle smile and humorous stories, Sarah glided through Emily's shattered world like a soft breeze breaking the tension. "Come on, Emily, let us bake something special," Sarah said, her voice as soothing as a warm cup of cocoa. As they stirred batter and sprinkled flour, Emily's laughter filled the kitchen. For those moments it felt like the hole in her heart was patched. Emily treasured her afternoons with Sarah. Together, they created cookies that sparkled like Christmas lights, and cakes adorned with too many sprinkles. Sarah was like the mom she'd yearned for, someone who understood her joys and fears. "You deserve happiness, kiddo," she would whisper as they shared giggles over sticky fingers and flour-dusted cheeks. But just as life felt settled again, Carla returned home, weary yet buoyant, finally back in her own kitchen. Emily's heart twisted as she watched the warm reunion unfold, her joy splintered by a terrifying realization. While Carla tried to reclaim her role as a mother, Emily felt an undeniable pull toward Sarah's comforting embrace. Each day it felt like tearing a small piece of her heart away. "Why can't things just be simple?" she whispered at night, tears spilling down her cheeks and soaking her pillow. The community buzzed with mixed whispers. Their sweet, beloved waitress couldn't quite hold her life together. Rumors clung to Sarah like a shadow, cutting deep every time Emily heard them. The once comforting town felt suffocating now, with hurtful judgments suddenly everywhere she turned. The weight of expectation loomed over her like a dark cloud, stirring feelings of confusion and heartache. Emily stood at a precipice of emotion, torn between loyalty to her mother and the warmth Sarah had given her. With a tight chest, she contemplated her desire for stability, kindness, and understanding, all things she craved but found difficult to reconcile. Would she betray her mother's sacrifices if she leaned on Sarah? Just as her mind spun with questions, a soft knock interrupted her turmoil. Who could it be? Did they hold the key to the answers she desperately sought? She could feel a shift in the air, a tiny flicker of hope as anticipation ignited her heart. Would it bring clarity or confusion? The door creaked open, and Emily braced for what lay ahead. Emily's heart raced as the door slowly swung open, revealing a figure silhouetted against the hall light. It was Clara, the neighbor from 2 doors down, her warm smile faltering upon seeing Emily's anxious face. "Hey there, Emily." Clara stepped inside, her voice soft yet steady. "I thought I'd check on you. How have you been holding up?" Emily shrugged, her gaze drifting to the floor. "It's been hard. I miss Mom." "I know," Clara replied gently. "But she's back now, right? That's a good thing." With a sigh, Emily nodded but felt a weight settle in her chest. "Yeah, but things are different." Clara walked over to the kitchen table, running her fingers over the flour-strewn surface where Emily and Sarah had baked just the day before. "Different can be okay, you know? Sometimes it just takes a little time to adjust." Emily's eyes flickered up, a glimmer of hope sparking. "Do you think it'll get better? Does everyone feel like this when things change?" "Absolutely. Change is tough. It's like a storm. It comes in, blows everything around, and then eventually the sun comes out again. You just have to hang on during the worst of it." Emily took a deep breath. Clara's words both comforting and daunting. She wanted to believe they would settle into a new normal, but every fiber of her being felt the tug-of-war between her mother and Sarah. Clara must have sensed the conflict beneath the surface. "Is there something on your mind? Something you want to share?" Her warm demeanor urged Emily to open up, to spill out the chaotic whirlpool of emotions threatening to drown her. She hesitated, then plunged in. I feel like I have to choose. Mom's home and I'm so happy she is, but Sarah. She makes me feel safe. It's like I can be myself around her. I don't know what to do. Choosing isn't easy, especially with people you love. But remember, it's okay to need more than one person. Your heart can hold love for both. But what if Mom gets upset? She has gone through so much and I just want her to be okay. Emily felt the tears rising again, vision blurring, and she tried to blink them back. Hey, listen, Clara knelt beside her, meeting her eyes. When it comes to love, it expands. It doesn't just squeeze out what's there. Have you talked to your mom about how you feel? The thought made Emily's stomach twist. She opened her mouth but nothing came out. The idea of exposing her heart, a heart divided, seemed terrifying. Try it, Clara encouraged her softly. You might be surprised at what she has to say. Communication can heal so much. As Emily considered those words, a mixture of dread and courage swirled within her. Clara's kindness had nudged open a door she had almost sealed shut. With a shaky breath she finally whispered, "Okay, I'll try. I need to talk to her." Just then the sounds of Carla's laughter filled the air from the living room. It bounced off the walls, warm and inviting. But within that joy was a tinge of anguish, reminding Emily of the delicate balance she walked. Feeling more determined, Emily wiped her eyes and took one last glance at Clara. "Thank you," she said, her voice steadier now. "Anytime, kiddo." Clara smiled, standing up and brushing off her jeans. "Remember this, your feelings matter." Emily nodded, feeling a flicker of strength ignite. Perhaps the path forward wouldn't be so lonely after all. But as she prepared to step out to her mom, she heard another knock at the door. This one felt urgent and unexpected. Could this knock hold more revelations about her future? What awaited them on the other side? Emily hesitated, her hand hovering over the doorknob. The knock sounded again, breaking the moment of stillness. It was insistent, almost pleading, and curiosity bubbled up inside her despite the storm of emotions swirling around her heart. Clara gave her an encouraging nod. "Are you going to answer it?" With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, Emily turned the knob and pulled the door open. Standing there was a man, disheveled yet vibrant. His eyes were wide with a mixture of relief and worry, and he held a large bouquet of flowers wrapped in brown paper. There was something familiar about him, but Emily couldn't place where she knew him from. Hey," he said, glancing from Emily to Clara. "I'm looking for Sarah. Is she around?" At the mention of Sarah's name, Emily's heart thudded heavily in her chest. I'm in the living room," Emily replied, her voice steadier than she felt. The man stepped inside, brushing past her with the bouquet in hand. "Thanks. I really need to talk to her." Clara raised an eyebrow, seemingly sizing him up. "Who are you?" "Ethan," he replied, finally turning to face Emily and Clara. "I'm Sarah's brother." Emily's breath caught in her throat. "Brother?" she echoed, glancing at Clara, who looked equally surprised. "I didn't know she had a brother. Yeah, we've been apart for a while." Ethan's expression dampened slightly, the joy in his eyes fading into something more somber. "Things have been complicated for us." "What do you mean?" Emily asked, feeling a mixture of apprehension and intrigue. Ethan inhaled deeply. "I was in an accident a few months back, and I couldn't get to her, but now I'm back and I want to make things right." "Is Sarah okay?" Clara interjected, her concern shifting to the girl they both cared for. Ethan's voice trembled as he replied, "She didn't know how to reach me. I'm scared she thinks I don't care." Emily felt a wave of sympathy wash over her. But the truth remained, Sarah was her safe harbor. The safety she had carved out with Sarah felt threatened, unsettling her even more. In that moment, the sound of laughter from the living room reached them. That familiar jolt of warmth reminded Emily of the happiness Sarah brought into her life, a light that seemed to pierce through the dark clouds closing in around her. "Ethan must be sensed the tension. I just want to talk to her. Let her know I'm here now and I love her." The sincerity in his voice struck a chord. Suddenly it was hard to ignore the complicated web that had formed around them. A new fold had entered the story, one that changed everything. As they stood there, each battling their own emotions, Emily's thoughts whirled. What would Sarah think? Would this change everything they had built together? And if it did, could she still find a place to stand between her mom and Sarah? With a nervous swallow, she turned to Clara. "Do you think I should tell Sarah he's here?" Clara met her gaze, her eyes soft but thoughtful. That's entirely your choice, Emily. Whatever you decide, just remember you're not alone in this. The weight of it all settled heavily on Emily's shoulders as she drew in a shaky breath. She had hoped the door would lead her to answers, but instead it felt like it had opened a whole new chapter she never expected. Without knowing what to say or do next, Emily's heart raced as the laughter from the living room filled her ears once more. What was she meant to say? Who was she meant to be in all of this? As she braced herself to take a step into the unknown, she felt the door close slowly behind her, sealing the past but leaving her with a million questions about the future. Would she find her footing? Or would everything she cared about slip away? Emily stood frozen in place, clenching her fists as the laughter continued to spill from the living room. Her heart raced, each beat echoing uncertainty. She turned back to Ethan, whose face was full of hope and worry, a blend she understood too well. "Can you give me a moment?" she asked, her voice a soft tremor. Without waiting for a response, she slipped past Ethan and into the living room. There Sarah sat surrounded by colorful wrapping paper and her favorite snacks. She was a picture of joy, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beyond those walls. Emily's heart ached at the sight. She longed for this happiness to be the backdrop of her life forever. But now, intertwined with it, were shadows of Ethan's arrival and the memories of Sarah's brother. What if this changed everything? "Hey Sarah," Emily said, forcing a smile as she approached. "Can we talk for a minute?" Sarah looked up, her eyes brightening. "Sure. What's up?" She shifted, putting down a piece of candy. With a racing pulse, Emily glanced back to make sure Ethan wasn't lurking. Remember I told you that sometimes family gets complicated? Well, there's someone I need you to meet." A frown flickered across Sarah's face, but it quickly gave way to curiosity. "Who?" "Ethan," she breathed, her heart thumping in synchronization with Sarah's widening eyes. "He just showed up." "Yes, your brother." The room seemed to fall silent, the joyful atmosphere replaced by an electric charge of uncertainty. Sarah's smile faltered, brows knitting together as confusion settled on her face. "Brother?" "I didn't think." Emily knelt beside her, trying to ease the moment. "He's here because he cares about you, Sarah. He wants to explain why he disappeared." As realization dawned, Sarah's expression morphed into a mixture of shock and hurt. But why now? Why didn't he find a way before? Emily felt a tightness in her chest. "I don't know, but I think it's important for you to hear him out. He's worried you think he doesn't care." A whirlwind of emotions danced across Sarah's face: confusion, anger, then something like hope. Emily reached out, squeezing Sarah's hand. "I'll be right there with you. We can face this together." Slowly, Sarah nodded, swallowing hard. "Okay, but what if I don't want to?" "That's okay too," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is your choice." They both stood, and Emily could sense the energy shift as they walked toward the door leading to the hallway. A lump formed in her throat. Would this encounter create a rift? Or would it open a door she never knew existed? As they stepped into the hallway, Ethan looked up, flowers still clutched in one hand. He gazed from Emily to Sarah, and in that moment, his nervousness was palpable. "Hey Sarah," he ventured, his voice as soft as a whisper. "Ethan," she replied, her tone mingled with wariness and curiosity. Emily felt her heart twist in knots. The air was thick with tension, filled with the unspoken words of years lost and relationships unexplored. Would they be able to build a bridge between the past and the future? Ethan stepped forward, holding out the flowers. "They might not make up for everything, but I wanted you to know that I'm here for you." As Sarah hesitated, glancing from the flowers to Ethan's expectant face, Emily felt the ground shifting beneath her feet. Whatever happened next had the potential to change everything: their dynamic, their closeness, maybe even who they were becoming. Would Emily's place in Sarah's life withstand the test? The silence hung in the air, rich with what-ifs. Emily braced herself for a response she feared might undo their bond. The uncertainty lingered, heavy and vibrant, as Sarah took a step closer to Ethan. What would she decide? Sarah's gaze flickered back and forth between the flowers and Ethan's face. For a heartbeat, time slowed, wrapping them all in a cocoon of tension. Ethan's hand trembled as he stared at the screen. The name lit up in harsh neon, drawing shadows across his face. Emily's heart raced as she caught a glimpse of Sarah's apprehension. This phone call had the potential to change everything they had just begun to build. It felt like the perfect moment teetering on the edge of disaster. "Please don't answer it," Sarah whispered, her voice a fragile thread. It was more than a request. It was a plea laced with fear. Ethan looked between the phone and Sarah, struggling with the weight of choice hanging heavily in the air. I need to know who it is," he managed, his voice barely above a whisper. Sarah took a step back, her grip on the flowers tightening as if they were the only thing grounding her. "If it's someone from your past, you don't need to answer." "Not now, not when we're trying to. I can't just ignore it," he interrupted, desperation creeping into his tone. "What if it's important?" Emily felt the riptide of emotions swirling around them. All their hard-fought progress threatened to unravel with a simple ring. She stepped forward, trying once more to bridge the tension. "There's nothing more important than the moment we're having right now, Ethan. You need to decide what matters most." He hesitated, his thumb hovering over the screen. Emily could see the conflict etching lines on his brow. Finally, with a heavy sigh, he swiped the phone to silence it. But that small victory vanished the moment silence fell again. Sarah's anguish became palpable, flooding the room with her doubt. "What does it even matter?" she snapped, her voice rising. "You're just going to run off again when things get hard." Ethan flinched, the pain in Sarah's words slicing deeper than he expected. "I'm not going anywhere," he said, each word punctuated with sincerity. "I promise I need to make this work. I want to be here. For you." Her eyes narrowed, brows knitting in frustration. "How can I trust you, Ethan? You left without a word. You chose to stay away, and honestly I'm scared of letting you back in. I don't want to get hurt again." As Sarah's voice trembled, a tear slipped down her cheek. Emily felt the silent ache knitting around her heart. She longed for a way to ease Sarah's pain, to help mend the rift that seemed so deep. "Sarah, what can we do to help you feel safe again? Let us talk this out," she urged gently. Sarah looked between her and Ethan, the storm within her churning. Could they find a path through this jungle of emotion? "I don't know what I need," she said finally, her voice low and broken. "All I know is that I don't want to hope if it's going to lead to more pain." The room fell into heavy silence, broken only by the ticking of a clock in the background. Ethan's eyes shone with determination. "I'll do whatever it takes to show you that I'm committed. You just have to tell me how." Sarah hesitated, the weight in her chest refusing to lift. As she opened her mouth to respond, the persistent ringing of Ethan's phone shattered the moment again. Emily's heart raced at the thought. What if it's something that needs addressing after all? What if it's someone who could change everything again? Ethan's expression hardened. "I should answer it." But just as he reached for the phone, Sarah stepped in front of him, eyes fierce and challenging. "No, this is our moment, Ethan. You need to choose what truly matters." With the room crackling with tension, Ethan stood frozen, caught between two worlds. The past that haunted him and the future he yearned to build. Would he follow the call, or would he heed Sarah's call for commitment? In that moment, everything hung in the balance, waiting to tip one way or the other. Ethan's heart raced as the phone continued to ring, its sound echoing in the silence. The tension in the room had reached a boiling point, and he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was on the other end could unravel everything he was trying to build with Sarah. "Just breathe," he whispered to himself, hoping that if he did, wisdom would wash over him. But all he heard was the frantic rhythm of his heart. Sarah's gaze pierced through him, a mix of hope and fear flickering in her eyes. "Ethan," she stepped closer, her voice low, nearly a whisper. "This is about us. Not about some ghost from your past." Ethan swallowed hard. "But it could be someone who needs my help. It could be someone who abandoned you?" Her words struck at his core, raw and painful. The truth stung. In his silence he had chosen loneliness over love, separation over connection. "I didn't abandon you," he responded, his voice choked with emotion. "There were reasons I had to leave. Reasons that didn't matter enough to tell me," Sarah countered, her voice sharpening like a knife. "Maybe I wouldn't have been so scared if you had just communicated. Just talked. That's what partners do, they share, they communicate." The air between them grew thick with unspoken words, regrets, and the possibility of reconciliation. Emily stood by, sensing the weight of their argument threatening to crush the fragile heart of this moment. She desired to intervene but knew that sometimes, silence was the greatest support. Ethan felt intensely the distance between them. He wanted to reach out to Sarah, to bridge that gap with touch and words, but the phone kept ringing, a cruel reminder of a life he thought he had left behind. I can't let this go unanswered, he said suddenly, conviction flooding his voice. If it's something serious, if it's someone I need to take care of, then I have to face it. I can't keep running anymore. You're not running. You're just about to dive into something that could pull you further away from us, Sarah pleaded, her face a canvas of turmoil. Decide now, Ethan. Don't let your past dictate our future. Her words hung in the air like a somber vow. He had a choice to make. He could dive into whatever this call was about, or he could turn his back on it, finally committing to the woman standing in front of him, a woman who needed to trust him again. At that moment, the door creaked open and Ethan's sister, Claire, walked into the living room. Her expression was serious, a perfect mix of concern and urgency. Ethan, you need to take the call, it's Mom. The heaviness dropped like a stone in the pit of his stomach. The room narrowed in on Ethan's heartbeat as he processed her words. He hadn't spoken to his mother in years, a decision wrapped in layers of hurt and loss. And now she was reaching out. Sarah's eyes widened, and the fragile thread of hope they had been weaving together snapped. Your mom? But you said I know what I said. He shouted before quieting his voice, the weight of emotion spilling forth. Can we do this later? Right now I need to figure out what she wants. Sarah stepped back, her expression a mix of disbelief and heartbreak. Emily felt that familiar tugging sensation, the kind that made it hard to breathe. This was not the conversation they'd wanted to have. For a brief moment, Ethan hesitated, the phone vibrating in his hand. His heart pulled in two directions. Would this call pull him back into the past, or would he have the strength to stay rooted in the present? And so the choice lay before him, heavy and daunting: his mother or the love he desperately wanted to reclaim. As the tension thickened, and the weight of expectation hung in the air, Ethan took a deep breath, poised to make what could be the most critical decision of his life. Would he answer and risk everything, or would he embrace the love that had been waiting for him? The moment stretched, every second like an eternity. Would he finally break free from the chains of the past? Ethan's hand trembled as he looked at the phone, its screen flashing with his mother's name. Memories he had buried surfaced, threatening to drown him. Would this be the moment he finally confronted his pain? Or would it pull him away from the possibilities he and Sarah had begun to explore? Ethan, please, Sarah's voice broke through the fog. Don't do this. Don't walk back into that darkness. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and he hated himself for feeling torn. He felt Claire's presence behind him, a steady reminder of family bonds and loyalty. Just pick it up, she urged softly, her voice an anchor in the storm of emotions swirling around him. You can't pretend it doesn't matter anymore. Taking a deep breath, Ethan finally hit the green button, answering the call. Mom. The word felt foreign, thick in his mouth as he tried to wrap his mind around everything it meant. Ethan, his mother's voice crackled through. It sounded older, strained, a hint of something he couldn't quite place. I know it's been a long time. I wasn't expecting to hear from you, he managed, his voice barely above a whisper. The air hung heavy with their unspoken history, each word laced with a mix of anger and longing. Please let me explain, she urged. I need to tell you why I've reached out now. It's important. Ethan stole a glance at Sarah, her expression shifting from worry to something resembling hope. She stepped closer, almost as if drawn by that faint thread of possibility. But what if the conversation pulled him apart from her entirely? I don't even know where to begin, he said, the weight of the past crushing down on him. You left. You left us. How do you expect me to trust anything you say now? I understand, she replied, her voice trembling. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but you have to know I wasn't in the right state of mind. I wasn't in the right state of mind? The response shot out before he could think, his frustration boiling over. That's your excuse? Silence filled the line, and suddenly he felt sick with rage. Each beat of his heart echoed the years of abandonment, of unanswered questions. Do you realize how much you hurt me? How many holidays, birthdays, moments I had to spend without you? I can't change the past, she replied, her voice breaking. But I can try to make things right. For you. For us. Ethan held his breath, torn. What did right even look like after this time? Would any of it matter if he didn't allow it to? He knew what Sarah would say, what she wanted him to do. But this was his mother, his history, swirling in front of him like a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. "In, please?" Her voice was small now. "It's your decision. I want to come back to be a part of your life again. But I understand if you can't, but I hope you will give me the chance." The words hung heavy like a low-hanging cloud, pregnant with possibilities and regrets. Behind him he felt Sarah's hand on his back, a gentle touch that reminded him of the life he was trying to embrace. "I can't do this alone," he whispered, his fear creeping back in. "I don't want to lose you too." His mother's response was a gasp, then silence. Sensing the enormity of his choice, Ethan turned to Sarah, her face a canvas of emotions, pain, concern, but also that glimmer of understanding. Would she still stand by him if he chose to re-enter that fractured chapter? As the phone slipped from his fingers, Ethan felt the ground shift beneath him. He wanted to face the past, but could he do it without losing Sarah? With everything hanging in the balance, he closed his eyes. What if this was just the beginning? What was he willing to sacrifice to find peace? In that moment he realized the journey was just beginning, and somewhere in the shadows of that past, the truth waited to be discovered. Ethan's heart raced as he stood in the fragile silence that followed his mother's call. He could feel the weight of unresolved emotions pressing against him, wrapping around him like a thick fog. He focused on the sunlight filtering through the kitchen window, the warmth a stark contrast to the coldness that gripped his chest. "Ethan?" Sarah's voice was soft but steady, breaking the air that felt too heavy to breathe. "What do you want to do?" He looked into her eyes, those deep pools of understanding that he had come to rely on. "I don't know," he admitted. "I'm scared." "Of what?" She stepped closer, her brow furrowing in concern. "Of opening that door again." He started, his voice quavering slightly. "What if she's not who I want her to be? What if I lose myself in all this? What if she's changed?" Sarah countered gently. "Maybe this is your chance to rewrite that story." The thought sent a rush of warmth through him, but a quick flash of doubt clawed at the edges of his mind. "I've waited so long. What if it's just another layer of disappointment?" "This is your decision," Sarah pressed, her tone even more earnest now. "But remember, you're not alone. I'll support you no matter what you decide." Ethan's thoughts drifted to the empty chair at family gatherings, the absence growing wider with each passing year. Could he fill that void? Was it even possible? As he sought comfort in the steady presence of Sarah, that nagging voice in his head challenged him. Facing his mother again could mean healing painful wounds or reopening them. "Maybe it's time for me to find out," he said quietly, his resolve hardening. Swallowing hard, he realized standing on the brink might lead to something beautiful, something he had deprived himself of for so long. "Okay," he finally said. "I'll call her back." Sarah's expression shifted from apprehension to a radiant smile, as if the sun had just burst through the clouds. "Are you sure?" "I have to try. I need answers. I need closure." He grabbed the phone again, dialed his mother's number, and closed his eyes as it rang. The anticipation twisted his stomach into knots. When she answered, her voice was thick with emotion. "Ethan." "Yeah, it's me. I want to talk," he said, holding Sarah's gaze, drawing strength from her unwavering support. "But first I need you to be honest. About everything." "I promise," she replied. Her voice had a tremor of something, fear, maybe? Regret? "I want to know why you left. I want to know how you can come back now. Why should I trust you again?" It's complicated. But I'm here now and I want to fix it. I want us to be a family." The term caught him off guard. A family. A word that felt both inviting and terrifying. Could he allow himself to hope for that after all this time? "I need to see you," he said, surprising even himself. "I need to know what that looks like." Silence hovered on the line, heavy and filled with anticipation. Finally she agreed. "I understand. I'll be here. Just give me a little time." Ethan felt a rush of emotions, fear, hope, and a strange sense of determination clawing at his chest. He nodded, then glanced back at Sarah, who was watching him with a small smile, full of encouragement as he ended the call. A sense of dread mixed with a flicker of potential washed over him. The last pieces of his childhood could finally be addressed, but at what cost? "Are you okay?" Sarah asked, reaching for his hand, her touch grounding. "I think I am, but it's complicated." "Complicated can lead to beautiful places," she whispered, her eyes shining with optimism. Ethan met her gaze, and for the first time, he dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, healing was within reach. But as he stood, bracing himself for the inevitable meeting with the woman who had left him behind, he couldn't help but wonder what truths still waited to be revealed. Ethan stood in the soft glow of morning light, the warmth of the sun cascading through the window, casting gentle shadows that danced around him. He felt invigorated and anxious. Today would be the day he faced his past. The decision to reconnect with his mother weighed heavily upon his heart, yet alongside it was a newfound determination, pushed forward by Sarah's unwavering support. "Are you sure about this?" Sarah asked, concern lacing her voice. She stood by his side, her presence like a rock anchoring him in the swirling uncertainty. "Yeah," he breathed, feeling the tension seep from his muscles. "For so long I've avoided this. I can't keep running." Sarah nodded, her eyes shimmering with understanding. "You've got this, Ethan. Just remember it's okay to feel scared." His heart raced again, a mix of excitement and dread. He thought of all the moments he'd lost, the memories that had slipped through his fingers like water. But today he could finally confront the labyrinth of his past and maybe just maybe start to untangle it with resolve. He picked up his phone, dialing his mother's number once more. Each ring felt like a countdown to a long-awaited meeting, and when she finally answered, breathlessness filled the air. "Ethan?" Her voice was soft but vibrant, as if it carried years of pent-up emotion. "Mom." He paused, the weight of emotion swirling like a storm inside him. "I need to talk. I want to understand why you left. Why should I trust you again?" A heavy silence lingered, thick like fog. "I can't express how sorry I am, Ethan. I didn't know how to handle everything back then. I fell into a deep place of despair, and I thought leaving was protecting you." The sincerity in her voice tugged at his heart, but the scars still raw from years of absence pulled him back. "You hurt me. You don't know what it was like to grow up without you. I know, and I can't change that. But I'm here now, willing and wanting to make things right. I need you to give me a chance," she implored, her voice cracking with emotion. Ethan took a deep breath, gathering his courage. "I want to meet you. I need to see you to understand." "Yes, whatever it takes, I'll be there," she exclaimed, her voice filled with hopeful disbelief. "Just tell me when and where." "Tomorrow at the Maple Grove Diner. You used to love that place," he finally said, each word a step forward in bridging their shared past. "Okay, I'll be there." He could hear the tentative hope in her voice, and he mirrored that fragile optimism by squeezing Sarah's hand tightly beside him. As they ended the call, Ethan felt fear dissolve into something softer, an ember of hope. "Are you okay?" Sarah's voice broke through his thoughts, and she searched his eyes, calm yet ready to support him through whatever came next. "Think I am. There's something about this decision, about finally facing things head-on. Scares me, but it feels good too." "Good," she replied softly. "You deserve to heal." Ethan smiled, his heart warm with her unwavering belief in him. That evening the diner buzzed with customers and laughter, yet Ethan felt detached. His mind wandered into uncharted territory. What if his mother hadn't changed? What if meeting her only reopened old wounds? As he sat at the booth, memories of sharing milkshakes with her flooded his mind, bringing both warmth and sorrow. When the diner's door swung open, a familiar figure stepped in, his mother. Time seemed to freeze as their eyes locked. She looked different. Older, fragile, but still there was a familiar sparkle in her eyes. His breath quickened. "Ethan," she said softly, taking cautious steps towards him, her hands trembling slightly. "Mom," he finally breathed out, feeling the weight of all their years apart. As she slid into the booth across from him, the silence stretched thick, ready for words that had been buried too long. "How've you been?" she ventured, her voice a tentative whisper. Ethan's heart hurt at the question, feeling the barriers between them slowly start to crack. "It's been hard," he admitted. "Not having you around, it's left scars." "I know. Regret my decisions every day," she replied, emotion threading through her voice. "But I want to change that now. I want to be part of your life again." As he listened, Ethan felt walls beginning to break bit by bit. He felt liberation in expressing years of confusion, anger, and hurt. "You left me to figure it all out alone. I just want to understand why." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I was not well, and I thought distancing myself would protect you from my struggles. I see how wrong that was now. Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Ethan hesitated, but the sincerity in her eyes shone through the years of pain. It won't be easy, but I'm willing to try. A small, vulnerable smile broke across her face. Thank you. Just know I'm here now, ready to be a part of your life. In that moment, as their hands met over the table, Ethan felt the warmth of potential, a future that could be rebuilt, rippling with possibilities. Just then, the door swung open again and Sarah walked in. Her eyes lit up when she saw Ethan and she rushed over. How is it going? Ethan shifted in his seat, unsure how to include her in this moment of progress. We're starting to talk, he said, glancing between Sarah and his mother. Hi, his mother greeted, a hint of apprehension in her tone. Sarah offered a gentle smile, the essence of warmth exuding through her. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for being here for Ethan, she responded. I know this is complicated. Complicated can lead to growth, Sarah said brightly. You're both taking brave steps. Just keep talking. Ethan felt a swell of gratitude for Sarah, her presence bolstering his courage. We are, he said, glancing back at his mother. This is just the beginning. As they exchanged tentative smiles, the weight of the past began to lift, hope blooming like a flower emerging from the aftermath of a storm. He knew there would still be challenges ahead, but together, they could embrace the journey of healing. And through it all, Ethan felt the power of family, of love, and the possibility that they could rewrite their story, beginning with this heartfelt reunion. It was time to heal, and they could face it together. Join the journey with us. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this community strong. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this transformative ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this message of hope and healing. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Real fans know the importance of keeping our stories alive.